Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about what you need to do if you're on a tight budget with YouTube ads and you want to get profitable as soon as possible. I'm going to give you 5 steps to go through to diagnose and troubleshoot and figure out what your next steps are. So the first step is to make sure you're selling the right product for the right audience, right? So on YouTube, we typically see a few things work. For e-commerce, we like higher priced e-commerce products. I like stuff I can spend at least $40 on acquiring a customer on. So if you can have a $40 cost per acquisition and you're happy with that and you're happy with that cost per sale, you're in a good place. In the info market space, I prefer higher ticket offers. So low ticket is okay if it's a front end customer acquisition kind of tool, right? So if you're just using low ticket front end funnels just to get a lot of customers to sell higher ticket stuff to, that's cool. However, I wouldn't sell a $97 course on its own without a backend in the US market, just because of the fact that it's way too low priced. It's really hard to make those numbers work. On the other hand, what I'm looking for is products that are $997 or more and have a good conversion rate. So a lot of our most successful campaigns are higher priced products. For example, right now we have an offer where it's a $20,000 offer, and I think we're getting like a 5 or 6x return on ad spend. We literally generated like $580,000 in revenue for this client in the last 30 days. And that's because it's very high priced. It's easier to make ads work when things are higher priced, especially on YouTube. So that's very important, right? Like if you're selling something that's super low ticket in e-com or info product, YouTube is going to be tougher for you. Now, the second step is to make sure your ads are working. And the way you do that is I like to look at the click-through rate. Now, if your click-through rate is below 1%, it's usually a good sign that your ads are not working. If it's between 1% and 2%, it's working. Over 2% is amazing. It shows that you've got an ad that people really love and are clicking on. So click-through rate is important because it's a really good metric that shows you exactly how many people are clicking through. And basically, the higher your click-through rate is, the lower your cost per click will be. Now let's get into the third step in this checklist. You want to make sure you're using the right bidding type. So if you have an account that is newer and you've had less than a few hundred conversions in the Google Ads account, then you should be using maximize conversions. If you have a more mature account where you've already had a few hundred conversions in your Google Ads account, you should be trying out target CPA. So maximize conversions and target CPA are what work for us. Target CPM and manual CPV honestly do not work that well for us. Manual CPV used to work in the past, but it's not that effective nowadays. So we use it in very few rare instances. So that's important. You want to make sure you're using the right bidding type. Now, the next part is to make sure you're testing the right audiences. So when you're just starting out, you don't want to go super broad. You don't want to go with topic audiences or big, broad affinity audiences. You want to stick to website retargeting or retargeting your YouTube channel. You also want to try out placements, keywords, and custom audiences. These are the most likely to get you results. So I really like all of these, right? So some retargeting, placements, keywords, and custom audiences. Now I have a video that's very in-depth on YouTube ads targeting. I'll make sure there's a link above, but go watch that video so you can learn exactly how these audiences work and how to use them with YouTube ads. Now, the last piece is to make sure that your funnel converts. So one thing I've noticed with a lot of YouTube ads accounts that are just not working is the funnel just doesn't convert. Like there is a very low chance of success because of the fact that their funnel is not working. So with e-commerce, you want a 2% to 3% minimum conversion rate from clicks to buyers. So if you're buying 100 clicks and you're only getting 1 purchase, it can mean that there's a conversion rate issue, especially if the product is lower priced. Now, obviously, if a product is much more expensive, you can have a lower conversion rate and it still works. And for info products, this can vary, but you want to make sure your opt-in page has at least 20 to 30% opt-ins. The other metrics you want to look at, depending on the type of funnel, is basically, webinar conversion rate. So the number of leads that opt in for the webinar that actually purchase. So usually what I see for a $997 webinar is 3% is where you want to be at, 2% is okay, but 3% is where you really want to be at. In terms of sales call funnels, where you bring them on a phone call, you want to make sure you're getting qualified leads on the call for a relatively decent price, depending on your close rate. So you kind of calculate your close rate, and then you figure out, okay, my product is $5,000. I have a 30% close rate. So if I want to get a 2x return, then I can afford to spend $800 per call. Obviously, that's very high. Usually with a $5,000 course or a $5,000 offer, you're trying to get a 3 to 4x return, just because of the fact it's so much more higher priced. And again, it comes down to the fact that the higher price the offer, the higher it is to get a higher return on ad spend. So yeah, guys, I hope that video was useful. As I mentioned, if you want to learn more about YouTube ads targeting, there's an in-depth video link above, and you can go watch that video, because that will give you a lot of great information on how to do YouTube ads targeting.